Jesse had always been the type of person who wore his heart on his sleeve, his determination shining through every smile and every challenge he faced. As he hurried through the hallways of Crestwood High, the weight of his dreams rested heavily on his shoulders, yet his spirit remained unyielded. He was on the verge of something monumental, a college sports scholarship that could define his future and elevate him from the small town he called home. But beneath that youthful bravado lay a vulnerability few could see. The truth was his heart belonged to someone else, his grandmother, Clara. The bond they shared was forged through years of laughter, tears, and unwavering support. She had raised him since he was a child, a beacon of resilience and love, and now, as she faced her own battle against illness, Jesse found himself at a crossroads that would test everything he believed in. Before we dive deeper into Jesse's journey, I want to take a moment to invite you to join our community. Your support means the world to us, and by subscribing to our channel, you help us share these powerful stories of love, perseverance, and hope with even more people. So please hit that subscribe button now, and let's embark on this journey together. The days that followed were a blur of hospital visits and late-night shifts at the diner where he worked. Jesse's world had shrunk to the confines of his responsibilities and the gnawing uncertainty of Clara's health. Each time he entered her room, he was met with the sight of her frail form, the vibrant woman who had once spun tales of adventure, now reduced to whispers and soft smiles. She had always been his biggest fan, attending every game, cheering the loudest, and filling him with encouragement even when the odds were stacked against him. Now, it was his turn to be her strength. With every passing day, the bills piled up, threatening to drown them both. Jesse felt the pressure mounting, squeezing the air from his lungs. He had taken on extra shifts, working tirelessly to keep food on the table and medicine within reach. Each dollar earned felt like a small victory, yet it never seemed enough. His grades began to slip, and the scholarship that once felt attainable now flickered like a distant star, just out of reach. The weight of his choices loomed large. He was torn between his dreams and his duty. Yet, amidst the chaos, Jesse held on to the flicker of hope that resided in Clara's eyes. She would often tell him stories of her own youth, of dreams dashed and hopes rekindled, urging him never to give up on what he wanted most. Her words were a balm to his troubled spirit, a reminder that love could weave through even the darkest times. On evenings when he returned home after a long shift, he would sit beside her, sharing tales of his day, his laughter mingling with her soft chuckles, creating a fragile bubble of normalcy. As the weeks rolled by, the strain began to take its toll. Jesse's friends noticed the change in him. Where he had once been the life of the party, now he was often absent, his laughter replaced by the weight of responsibility. They would text him, inviting him to hang out, but his replies were always laden with excuses. "Can't tonight, Grandma needs me. I have to work." He could feel their concern, but he was too stubborn to ask for help. He was the one who was supposed to be strong. One evening, as he sat in the dim light of their living room, he glanced at Clara, who had fallen asleep with her knitting needles resting in her lap. The sight tugged at his heartstrings. With a heavy sigh, he took a deep breath, contemplating the sacrifices he was making. He had dreams, big dreams, but Clara's well-being was paramount. The thought of her suffering pushed him to his limits, igniting a fire within him that refused to be extinguished. He could not let her down, not after all she had done for him. As days turned into weeks, Jesse's friends began to rally around him, sensing his struggle. They noticed his absence from basketball practice, his reluctance to join in on study sessions, and the flicker of exhaustion in his eyes. One afternoon, while he was on his break at the diner, he received a text from his best friend, Marco. "We're worried about you, man. Let's do something to help." The message struck a chord deep within Jesse, a mix of pride and guilt swirling in his chest. He wanted to be the strong one, the one who didn't need saving. Yet the reality was undeniable. He couldn't do this alone. With Marco's encouragement, they devised a plan. Jesse was hesitant at first, fearing it would only draw attention to their struggles. But as they brainstormed ideas, Marco reminded him of the love and support that surrounded them. "You're not just doing this for you. It's for Grandma too," he said, his voice steady and reassuring. The idea of a fundraiser began to take shape, a way for their tight-knit community to come together, to show their appreciation for Clara and to ease some of the financial burden. As the days passed, Jesse found himself caught in a whirlwind of activity. His friends took charge of organizing the fundraiser, while he focused on balancing work and caring for Clara. The event was set for a Saturday, and they planned to hold it at the local community center. Jesse was amazed at how quickly the word spread. Posters adorned the walls of the school, and announcements echoed through the halls, drawing in students and families alike. It was surreal to see his world transform, a tapestry of love woven by the people he had grown up with. On the day of the fundraiser, the community center buzzed with energy and laughter. Tables were adorned with colorful decorations, and the aroma of homemade dishes filled the air. Jesse arrived with Clara, who had insisted on coming despite her fatigue. She wore a bright smile that lit up the room, her spirit shining through the shadows of illness. As they entered, the crowd erupted in cheerful applause, and Jesse felt a swell of gratitude wash over him. In that moment, he understood the true power of community, the unbreakable bond that tied them all together. As the evening unfolded, stories were shared, laughter echoed, and the warmth of compassion enveloped them. Clara was the heart of the event, her presence a testament to the love that had nurtured Jesse's spirit. And as he looked around at the faces of his friends and neighbors, he realized that while he had sacrificed much, he was never truly alone. They were all together in this fight, a tapestry of resilience and hope, stitched with love that would not fray easily. As the evening unfolded, stories were shared, laughter echoed, and the warmth of compassion enveloped them. Clara was the heart of the event, her presence a testament to the love that had nurtured Jesse's spirit. And as he looked around at the faces of his friends and neighbors, he realized that while he had sacrificed much, he was never truly alone. They were all together in this fight, a tapestry of resilience and hope, stitched with love that would not fray easily. As Jesse mingled with the crowd, he felt a sense of belonging that had been missing in recent weeks. His friends surrounded him, their laughter ringing like music, and for a brief moment, the weight of the world seemed to lift. They played games, shared stories of their childhood, and reminisced about the time they had chased fireflies in Clara's backyard. Each memory brought a smile to Clara's face, her eyes sparkling with the joy of nostalgia. Jesse was struck by how every chuckle and every shared story was a reminder of the life they had built together, and it fueled his resolve to keep fighting for Clara. When it came time for Jesse to speak, he took a deep breath, feeling the gravity of the moment settle on his shoulders. He stepped up to the makeshift podium, heart racing, and looked out over the sea of familiar faces. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he began, his voice steady despite the tremor of emotion in his chest. "This isn't just about raising money. It's about love, community, and the support that each of you has shown us. Grandma has always been there for me, and I want to be there for her just as she has been for me." A round of applause erupted, and he could see Clara beaming with pride, her frail hands clapping softly. Jesse's words became a bridge between his struggles and the warmth of the community's embrace. The crowd listened intently as he shared a few anecdotes about Clara, how she had taught him to ride a bike, cheered for him at every game, and was the anchor in his life. Each story drew them closer, weaving a sense of unity that Jesse had never fully appreciated before. The evening continued with a variety of activities, from bake sales to raffles, while local musicians took the stage to perform. The atmosphere was electric, filled with the sounds of laughter and the rhythmic strumming of guitars. It was as if the universe had conspired to create a night of healing and hope. Jesse watched as people came forward, placing their donations into a jar, each contribution symbolizing not only financial support, but also an affirmation of their love for Clara and what she meant to the community. As the night wore on, Jesse's heart swelled with gratitude. Clara was surrounded by friends, her laughter mingling with theirs, and he realized how much she meant to them too. She had devoted her life to nurturing this community, and now it was returning the favor. It was a powerful reminder that love transcends words, manifesting in actions that speak louder than anything else. Just when Jesse thought the night couldn't get any better, Clara took the stage, her voice shaky but resolute. "You all have been a part of my life for so long, and I can't express how much your kindness means to me and my Jesse. I've watched him grow into a remarkable young man, and it fills my heart with joy to see him surrounded by friends who care for him as much as I do." Her words hung in the air, heavy with emotion, and Jesse felt tears prick at the corners of his eyes. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Jesse felt a surge of love wash over him. In that moment, he understood that the sacrifices he made were not in vain. Clara's health struggles were a chapter in their shared story, but they were not the end. Together, they had built a foundation of love that would carry them both through even the darkest of times. As the fundraiser drew to a close, Jesse stood beside Clara, looking at the overflowing donation jar, and felt a tide of relief wash over him. They had raised more than he could have hoped for, funds that would help cover medical bills and perhaps a few months of groceries. More importantly, they had raised a community, a network of support that would help them navigate the uncertain waters ahead. But even as he basked in the glow of success, a small knot of anxiety twisted in his stomach. He knew that their struggles were far from over. The reality of his schoolwork loomed over him, and the scholarship he had once thought was within his grasp now felt like a distant dream. He needed to find a way to balance everything: the responsibilities of caregiving, work, and his education. The thought of letting Clara down was like a weight on his chest, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he had to do more. In the days that followed the fundraiser, Jesse found himself caught in a whirlwind of emotions. The warmth of the community's support lingered, but it was countered by the relentless pressure of his responsibilities. School was not forgiving. Assignments piled up, and he struggled to keep up with the curriculum he had once navigated with ease. Each missed class, each incomplete assignment felt like another nail in the coffin of his dreams. He spent late nights poring over textbooks, often with Clara asleep in the next room, the faint sound of her breathing providing a rhythm to his frantic studying. He would glance at the clock, realizing that the hours were slipping away, and with it, the dreams he had nurtured for so long. Yet, every time he thought about giving up, he remembered Clara's unwavering spirit, her smile lighting up even the darkest days, and he pushed forward. One evening, as he sat at the dining table buried under a mountain of homework, Clara shuffled into the room, her expression soft and concerned. "Jesse, you need to take care of yourself too," she said gently, her voice a mix of worry and love. "You can't pour from an empty cup." Her words struck a chord deep within him, and he realized she was right. He needed to find balance, to care for himself just as he was caring for her. And in that moment of clarity, he made a decision. He would reach out to his teachers, explain his situation, and ask for their support. It was a step towards vulnerability, something he had avoided, but it was necessary. The next day, Jesse walked into school with a sense of purpose. As he approached his English teacher, Mrs. Adams, he felt the familiar knot of anxiety tighten in his stomach. But he took a deep breath and explained everything: Clara's illness, the fundraiser, the struggle to keep up with his studies. To his surprise, Mrs. Adams listened intently, her expression shifting from concern to understanding. "I appreciate you coming to me, Jesse," she said softly. "Life can throw some tough challenges at us, but it's how we face them that defines our character. I'll work with you to ensure you don't fall behind. We'll find a way to get you back on track." Her words were a balm to his weary soul. It was the first glimmer of hope he had felt in a while, a reminder that asking for help didn't make him weak. It made him brave. Encouraged by her support, he approached his other teachers, each time finding a similar response. They offered extensions, additional tutoring, and even encouragement, reminding him that he was not alone in this fight. With this newfound support, Jesse began to carve out a path that allowed him to juggle his responsibilities while still keeping his dreams alive. The nights were still long, and the work was still hard, but now he had allies in his corner. Slowly, he began to see the light at the end of the tunnel, a faint yet undeniable beacon of hope. If this story is touching your heart, make sure to comment from where you are hearing this amazing story. Your thoughts matter to us and help keep the spirit of community alive. As the weeks passed, the balance between work, school, and caring for Clara began to stabilize. Jesse learned to manage his time more effectively, prioritizing tasks while still making room for moments with Clara. They shared quiet evenings together, reminiscing about the past, and those moments became his lifeline. Clara's laughter, even when it was faint, filled the room with warmth, and he cherished every second. But just as Jesse felt that he was regaining control, a new challenge arose. Clara's health took a sudden downturn, the illness that had been a shadow over their lives now casting a darker pall. Jesse found himself back in that familiar hospital room, the sterile scent of antiseptic heavy in the air. The doctors spoke in hushed tones, and he felt the ground shift beneath his feet. Panic surged through him as he grasped Clara's hand, the frailty of her grasp sending waves of fear crashing over him. In that moment, he realized that no amount of preparation could shield him from the unpredictability of life. Just when he thought he could manage everything, the world reminded him of its fragility. Jesse's heart raced as he fought to maintain his composure, knowing that Clara needed him to be strong. He squeezed her hand tighter, willing her to fight, to hold on as he sat vigil at her bedside, each passing hour stretching into an eternity. As he watched the monitors beep steadily, the sound became a rhythmic reminder of life itself. He reflected on the love that had brought them to this point, the laughter they had shared, and the dreams they had nurtured together. Clara had always been his anchor, and now, in this moment of uncertainty, he found himself anchored in her love. The realization dawned on him. Love was not just about sacrifices or responsibilities. It was also about being present, about sharing moments even when the future seemed bleak. Days turned into nights, and Jesse felt as if time had lost all meaning within the sterile confines of the hospital. Clara's condition fluctuated, and with it, Jesse's hope ebbed and flowed like the tide. He spent countless hours at her bedside, reading to her from her favorite novels, recounting tales of their shared adventures, and reminiscing about the time they had gone fishing at the lake, where they had laughed until they cried. Each story was a thread woven into the fabric of their shared love, a reminder of the life that had once been vibrant and full of laughter. One particularly long night, as the moonlight filtered softly through the window, Jesse found himself drifting off, his head resting gently on Clara's hand. He awoke to a soft voice calling his name. "Jesse," Clara murmured, her voice barely above a whisper. It was weak, but filled with an undeniable warmth that sent a rush of relief through him. "Grandma," he said, his heart racing as he sat up. "I'm here. I'm right here." She turned her head slowly, her eyes meeting his with a clarity that made his heart ache. "You've been so strong for me, my dear," she said, her voice trembling but filled with love. "But you also need to take care of yourself. Promise me you won't give up on your dreams." Tears brimmed in Jesse's eyes as he nodded. "I promise, Grandma. I'll keep fighting for you and for me." With that promise, a flicker of resolve ignited within him. He wouldn't let Clara's struggle be in vain. He would keep pushing forward, finding ways to balance his responsibilities, no matter how overwhelming they became. The following weeks were a whirlwind of emotions as Jesse juggled hospital visits and schoolwork. His teachers continued to support him, understanding the toll the situation was taking on his performance. Yet, amidst the chaos, the community remained steadfast, sending meals and messages of encouragement, their love wrapping around him like a warm blanket. Then, as if the universe was working in tandem with their struggle, news arrived that changed everything. After an encouraging visit from Clara's doctors, they learned about a new treatment that offered a glimmer of hope. Jesse could hardly breathe as they discussed the details, his heart racing with cautious optimism. "Let's do it, Grandma," he urged, his voice filled with determination. "Whatever it takes, we'll fight this together." Clara's eyes sparkled with a mix of fear and hope, and she nodded slowly, the flicker of her spirit igniting the fire within him. As the treatment began, Jesse found himself navigating a new rhythm. He learned to balance work, school, and hospital visits with a newfound sense of purpose. The journey was fraught with challenges, but each small victory, each moment of Clara's laughter or a good report from the doctors, became a stepping stone toward healing. One afternoon, as Jesse returned home from the hospital, he found a letter waiting for him. It was from the local college he had applied to earlier in the year. Heart pounding, he tore it open, his breath hitching as he read the words on the page. They were offering him a scholarship, inspired by his story of resilience and the love he had shown for Clara. "This is it," he shouted, unable to contain the joy bubbling inside him. He rushed to Clara's room, where she was resting, her face illuminated by the soft afternoon light. "Grandma, you won't believe this." When he told her the news, her eyes welled with tears, and a smile broke across her face, transforming her entire being. "I knew you could do it, Jesse," she exclaimed, her voice stronger than he had heard in weeks. In that moment, the weight of the world lifted, and Jesse felt the future stretch out before him like a vast horizon filled with possibilities. The scholarship was more than just financial aid. It was a testament to the power of love, community, and resilience. It meant he could pursue his dreams while staying close to Clara, the woman who had sacrificed so much for him. As the days turned into weeks, the treatment continued, and Clara's health began to improve slowly but surely. Jesse took every opportunity to support her, juggling his responsibilities with newfound strength. He became her advocate, asking questions, attending appointments, and learning about her treatment. Each small triumph strengthened their bond. Each shared moment a reminder of the love that had carried them through the darkest times. When it came time for graduation, Jesse stood among his classmates, a proud smile on his face. Clara, beaming with pride from the front row, was a vision of strength and love. As he walked across the stage to receive his diploma, he felt a swell of gratitude wash over him. It was not just his achievement. It was a testament to Clara's unwavering spirit and the community that had rallied around them. After the ceremony, as they embraced, Jesse whispered, "We did it, Grandma. We really did it." "Yes, my dear," she replied, her voice filled with emotion. "This is just the beginning." With the scholarship secured and Clara recovering, Jesse felt hopeful for the first time in a long while. He had faced challenges that would have broken many, yet he emerged stronger, with a heart full of love and a spirit ready to face whatever came next. The journey was not over, but now it was one they would navigate together, hand in hand, forever bound by an unbreakable love.